Hello, my friend. Have you ever had something to say and then fear crept in and you went silent? Have you ever stumbled through a conversation only to think like later the next day or whatever, that's what I should have said? Do you ever feel like there are times when you're in a conversation and you're like, that's not what I'm saying? Well, my friend, you're not alone. Get ready to uplevel your communication. My name is Kathy Riley. I am your host and communication expert here at Breaking Bad Communication Podcast, with over 25 years in litigation and another 15 as an entrepreneur. Our goal here is to share tools, systems, techniques guaranteed to shift the way you connect with others. From mastering the art of a tough conversation to cultivating a mindset that screams confidence, you're going to learn how to break those bad habits. I'm super excited because we have an amazing guest today. Miss Kathy here. And just so you guys, as you're listening, you've got a Kathy sandwich here. So Miss Kathy Rushing, she helps growth-minded couples build marriages that thrive through all seasons of life. In 2023, she launched Lodestar Relationship Coaching to work with couples and individuals virtually and anywhere. Her secret sauce? She combines over 30 years' experience as a marriage and family counselor with the hard won wisdom of her 40-plus year marriage to Mark, a serial entrepreneur. She especially loves working with entrepreneurial couples, as this is a roller coaster life her and Mark have navigated together. Through her podcast, Committed, The Entrepreneurial Marriage, Kathy combines interviews with real world wisdom to help other entrepreneurial couples create strong partnerships while chasing their dreams. Think of her as a relationship guide as she walks this path before and knows what you need to reconnect, align, and renew your relationship. Thank you so much, Miss Kathy, for coming on here to share your wisdom. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Hi, Kathy. It is great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure. And we were talking the other day, and I've got to say, you work with couples, and we talked about the whole entrepreneurial side. And the reality is, us entrepreneurs, I had 25 years in corporate America and then shifted to becoming an entrepreneur. We're a different breed.
Hmm.
Entrepreneurs think, show up, behave differently. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. It's that energy. I work with all kinds of couples and individuals. Again, more about growth, but it is that energy that entrepreneurs bring of just, they're eager for change and for creating new things or for trying new things. And there's a real upside to that, and then there's a bit of a dark side too. Um,
Uh-huh.
they can get
Yeah.
head down and kind of put their relationship over here, kind of like a cactus. Like I'll give it an ice cube a month or something and expect it to flourish. And relationships just aren't that way. They require
Mhm.
regular attention, just like a plant needs the right amount of water and light. So do relationships. And every person's a little different. So it's important to think of your marriage with the same type of strategy that you would your business, because people relate to that. They go to conferences, they spend money on coaching to learn all they can about their business, but their relationship, it's kind of like, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. And I talk to a lot of couples and they're like, oh, we're good until they're not. And it's like every
Yeah.
relationship has little cracks in it, because that's just the nature of relationships. But we have to know how to repair those little cracks. And when we're busy as entrepreneurs, sometimes we just overlook it. We don't realize it's there, but then we look up and there's, the Grand Canyon has grown. So
Oh, I love that you compare, a marriage, a relationship to a plant. Because in reality, if you think about it, if and I'm a gardener, I try to have green thumbs, right? Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. But the
Yeah,
reality is, you plant the seed and you don't have the rose bush tomorrow.
right.
It takes time and water and food and sunshine and love. And then as it's growing, you prune and all of that. So there's constant attention. It may not be like every day, all day, but it's a
Absolutely. Mhm.
little bit nurture, nurture, nurture.
Yeah. And it's also important to know what it is you're trying to grow because if you're like I have a neighbor that they leave for a couple of months to go where it's warmer. And so I'm going over to water her plants, and all of her plants are a type of succulent. So she has very specific directions for each one. And one of them literally gets 2 ice cubes, one of them gets a cup of water. Well, that's a big difference. And so, as
Mm.
individuals, we have different needs, we have different love languages. And if my love language is physical touch and my husband's is acts of service, and I'm always touching him, but what he really wants is like, could you, um, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an act of service for him. He's really good at acts of service for me. He brings me coffee in bed almost every day. Um, so it's important to know what that individual needs and not
Yeah.
assume that their needs are the same as ours. And that's where communication is so important. And communication, we think of communication as the actual act of talking. You and I are having a conversation, we are talking. But if we were having, let's say we were having lunch, and in the middle of the lunch, I take out my phone. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm listening, Kathy. Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh, oh, did you know? And you're like, what? It was like, oh, the cutest video. And you're like, I mean, what are you feeling when I do that?
Yeah.
You're
There's
not
that
feeling very
disconnect.
important. Yeah, you're not feeling important. You're not feeling heard for sure. It's like, uh-huh, uh-huh. We might be nodding our head, but one of the things that I teach every couple I work with is the speaker listener technique. And I'm like, I am beating this drum and I'll beat it till the day I die because where do we learn to have healthy communication? We might pick up things by observing our parents or other people in our lives, but the reality is most of us want intimate, long term relationships, and they're tricky. The nature of long term is tricky. I change. My husband has changed. We have evolved through many seasons at this point. We just celebrated 45 years in January. Thank
Congratulations!
you.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
We married at birth. Just so you know, I'm only 45
Nice.
years old.
Beautiful.
It was an arranged marriage. No, I'm kidding, kidding, kidding. Um, but we don't know. And Mark and I, when we were first married, oh my gosh, um, I don't have it in reach, but I have a picture of it's our wedding picture. And it's in a cheap little gold frame and it has a crack on the glass that's from our first year of marriage. I got mad about something and I can be kind of hot-headed and he's more quiet and really took time to process and I was probably trying to get his attention or something and I threw something at that picture. So I think I aimed at the picture. I don't think I aimed at him. I don't think I was that bad of an aim.
Well, we're not going to admit it anyway.
Well, I'm not going to admit it, but yeah. So I have that picture to remind me, of what um, our emotions can do when we don't know how to properly express them and how to, I mean, we know so much now about calming our own nervous system. I didn't know those things then. But the
Yeah.
speaker listener technique is something that I think everyone needs to know. Do you want to do a little
Tell us, tell
demo?
us about that.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So the speaker listener technique is it I didn't create it. I don't know where I read it in one of my many marriage books, but some people call it active listening. So the interesting
Mhm.
thing is that we think of communication as I don't know how to say what I want to say. When really a big part of it, you've maybe heard the little saying that, we have one mouth and two ears for a reason, that
Yes.
listening is so much of communication. So the speaker listener, I'll kind of run through the highlights of it. So speaker listener, you have one person that is the speaker, one person is the listener. And let's say that I want to bring an issue to Mark. I want to talk about vacation, let's say this summer. It's like, hey, I want to talk about this idea and we need a little bit of time to do it. So the listener is going to keep three things in mind. One is mirroring. They're going to do that every time I say something. I'm going to speak for a few minutes and give him a chance to mirror or say back. And this is the exact point that every conversation we've ever had that's gone south is what we're missing. One of
Yeah.
us will jump in defensively. Well, that's not what I said, or you're not listening to me, and it's an accusation instead of just pausing, taking a breath, even if you are feeling feeling that like your stomach is starting to flip in knots, like those conversations we have that are, we've had them before and we know it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
So mirroring, you do every time. The second piece is empathy. It's looking for a feeling word. So something like, maybe it's a conversation about one of our kids. Our kids are grown, thank God. They're all on their own and they're doing great. And they're all married and we love our in-laws. But let's say, when they were
Nice.
at home, we had many of those. I'm really worried about so and so. Well, it sounds like you're feeling worried. Well, duh, I just said worried, but sometimes we're having to listen for those feeling words because it's at the point of emotional connection
Yeah.
that we truly connect to another person. That's what empathy is. It's the ability to get into another person's shoes and imagine what it's like to walk in their shoes. So, mirroring, empathy, and the third piece is validation. And it's very important to know that validation is not agreement necessarily. It might be, but validation might sound something like, especially in a long term relationship, you know enough about each other's family of origin, let's say. I had my parents divorced when I was a senior in high school. And some of the big issues we had to work through that honestly still are there very faintly after all these years. But when my dad left, he left. And three girls, I have two younger sisters. I went off to college with zero support. My mom was doing her best to hold her girls together, but she was not in a good place emotionally. And so this sense of abandonment for me was very big. And so times in our relationship that have been hard might have been times when I felt abandoned. And part of what I love about Mark is he has never abandoned me, has never done anything intentional, but there are things that he has done or said that to me feel like abandonment. Okay. So let's say we're having this conversation about something he did. And as we're back and forth, he might say, oh, wow, I can hear and I can validate how you can see what happened as abandonment. That was not my intention. So that's where the validation is not agreement. He didn't intend to abandon, but I, it felt like it to me. So those are the three pieces. The other piece for the speaker, And especially if it's a complicated, like one of these issues that I call them thorny issues, or think of like a ball of yarn that you're trying to untangle. It's like how
Yeah.
to unknot this. Um, so some of those issues, this is where the speaker listener technique is so critical, because it gives us the tools we need to slow it down, not react, with the first emotion that we feel. And so the speaker needs to also be cognizant of being clear about what they're asking for. And sometimes we enter a conversation and it might be like, I am just feeling so much angst after this meeting I had. Can you hear me process it? And so sometimes it might just be, can you hear me? Yeah. I mean, that was another issue early in our marriage. I'd come and I'd be all hot about something, had nothing to do with him, but he would take it personally and he would kind of shut down, pull away,
Yeah.
And I finally learned to say, hey, this is not about you. Can you hear me process? So that's important for the speaker to be clear about what they need. Do you need me to listen? Are you looking for feedback? Do you want some solutions? um, and also to not dominate the floor, but to, say a few things, let the other person mirror, express empathy and validation, and then they have the floor. And the same thing applies. And so you do this back and forth, and it really is just a beautiful way to untangle the knots in our marriage. And yet it
Oh,
feels a little awkward at first if people try this. I had some clients years ago. The man was an older, kind of a farmer, kind of a, you know, salt of the earth kind of guy.
mm.
And well, he said two things. One was, I told her I loved her the day I married her, and if it ever changed, I'd let her know. And
Oh,
he
okay.
said this, yeah.
Good to
And
know.
then,
Thanks.
yeah, it hasn't changed. But when I tried to teach them this exercise, and he just kind of folded his arms and was like, I heard what she said. I said, just humor me. What do you hear her saying? So he finally, got some words out. And Kathy, it wasn't anything that she had just said. So we had to start all over.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I think that is such a powerful, it sounds deceivingly simple, but I promise you, if any of your listeners are willing to try this, I do have it written up as a like a one-page handout or something. They're welcome to
Uh-huh.
email me or something. I'll send it to them. But
I love
yeah,
this. Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit because this is a pretty good,
yeah.
this is powerful, absolutely powerful to get people on the same page. Because at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, when it comes to communication,
Mm-hmm.
our perspectives, no two people have the same perspective and understanding, comprehension, and feeling about any given situation. So, how do we get on the same page? And when
Yeah.
you're in a marriage or you're part of a couple in a relationship, then you also have that emotional entanglement, which,
Mm-hmm.
makes it more amplified. So
For
let's
sure.
unpack it. So the
Mm-hmm.
the mirroring well, first of all, do you, as your partner, you sit down and you let them know, hey, we're going to do this exercise?
Yeah, or it might be a conversation. I had a couple do this a few weeks ago in a session, and I said, let's just practice it. And they wanted to talk about their spring break plans. They have kids in high school. And so, we took that time to actually do it. And they were like, this is a couple, they're both pretty introverted. They're both high S's on the disc. I don't know if people are
Uh-huh.
familiar with the disc profile, but they kind of keep their emotions deep inside, and they're afraid to rock the boat. And so
Yeah.
both of the couple is this way. And so to have that tool, to have the back and forth, was very helpful for them. But it's especially like there was something recently. I'm trying to think now what the topic was. It might have been a financial issue that I said something, And my husband got defensive immediately. And I was like, okay, I'm needing to leave in 5 minutes, but we need to unpack this later. So, if it's not a good time to actually have the conversation, it's really good to bookmark it and say, okay, when can we have this
Yeah.
conversation? And kind of give the other person a heads up, like, that thing we talked about last week, I'd really like to talk some more about that. Could we schedule some time to do that? Maybe go for coffee? If it's a really, really um, landbind kind of conversation, you might
Uh-huh.
want to do it publicly. Like, what
Really?
if we
Okay.
went, yeah, what if we go to a coffee shop? Because you know that you're not going to be screaming at each other. Most people aren't anyway.
That's
Um,
true.
and it's just one way to kind of keep some guardrails on the relationship. Mhm.
Interesting idea. Okay, I like that. Okay, so the first is you've got to let your partner know that this is what we're going to do. This is the exercise. We're going to have a conversation. So
Mhm.
either like right now or
Mhm.
this afternoon
And
or
not
whenever it
not
is.
before bedtime. Not
Oh,
before
okay.
bedtime. Yeah. Yeah, so many couples do that. And you think about it and it's like, well, duh. But it's like, again, especially if you know that it has the potential to really stir up some strong emotions, we don't want to do that before bedtime because then we have a
Yeah.
hard time going to sleep. So, yeah.
Oh, I resemble that remark completely because I don't, I did conflict resolution. It's great. I'm so good at resolving other people's conflicts. Myself, not so much. So
Yes,
I'll
for
sit there,
sure.
and
Yeah.
you'll stir on it, right? And or stew on it.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
just and then you're like, okay, I gotta let it go. And it's like an hour or a half hour before bedtime. And then
Right.
things get stirred up and then you don't sleep. So
Yeah.
I love that you said that, and I need to take that to heart because I think that is important. So okay, unpacking this. So we you let them know that this is the exercise we're going to do. Then the mirror. When you say mirroring,
Hmm.
like I know when I talk leadership communication, what mirroring looks like. Can you give us an
Hmm.
example of mirroring?
Hmm. So, what I'm hearing you say, Kathy, is you would like an example of how to mirror. It can be the exact words. And most of the time, it is like it can be their exact words, but it's fine also to put it in your own words. So, um, oh, I forgot one important thing too for the speaker is for the speaker to use I language.
Oh, okay.
I think, I need, I feel, I want. Because when we start it with, you know what you're always doing? What have we done? We've
Blaming.
just put up their defenses. Yeah. So that is another piece to the speaker. But the mirroring is just making sure that we're hearing it accurately. I sometimes call it drive through talking. We've all been through a drive through. Some of us have been through with half of the soccer team, let's say, and we pull through McDonald's and we're trying to get this order going. Okay, what does everybody want to drink? And we give our order. And what do? They say it back.
Yes.
And we might say, oh, wait, no, that was 3 orders of fries, not 2. What, Susie? You want a chocolate shake instead of a Coke. Okay, I'm sorry, but we need to change it one more time. So it's that kind of a back and forth until
Yeah.
they read the final order and you go, yep, that's it. All right, please pull forward, $4,000 at the next window, right? um,
Yeah.
and so mirroring is to make sure that you are hearing because we tend to hear through our own lens. And that's why the seeming simplicity of this technique is deceptive because we're like, yeah, I heard what they said. Did you? Can you put it in words? And so, what it sounds like sometimes is, I may, if you and I are having this conversation, Kathy, you might say something So what I'm hearing you say is you felt really left out when you weren't invited to uh, the pre-wedding party, let's say. And you might say, well, because part of this is sometimes we're working out how we feel when we're talking
Yeah.
about when we're talking about this issue. And it might be, well, I don't know. Let me think about that. I didn't really feel left out. I felt whatever, XYZ.
Yeah.
And so the mirroring by saying what I'm hearing you say is an opportunity for the other person to either say, yes, that's what I'm saying, or, well, sort of, not quite. And so you try again. You use some different words, or maybe use a different example. And so the person mirrors again. And it's this back and forth. And let me just say, this doesn't just work for couples, this works at work.
Uh-huh.
It's incredibly powerful for parents and teenage kids. I say teenage because children don't really have the capacity to follow all of these steps. But for teenagers, young adults, it's a wonderful tool. So it's powerful for any relationship, and especially like you said, trying to get on the same page. Um, yeah, so mirroring is and and I guess it's beyond the rote. It will feel rote in the beginning. And I always warn people about this. I said, it's going to feel awkward, but you'll find a way to make it your own. And,
Yeah.
you know, the key is to make sure, because we still, after all these years, there will be something I will say, and my husband jumps in with a solution or a rebuttal. And I was like, okay, you're not listening. I need you to hear what I'm saying, and I need you to say it back to me, because you've gone into defense mode, because that's where we get in trouble with communication. We are trying to defend. It's our human nature. We all
Right.
do it. So don't feel horrible, awful, but again, where do we learn to have healthy communication? Right
Yeah.
here on
And we just
Kathy's
want to help.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we just want to help. And I think men love to provide solutions.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Women are good at listeners, right? And men want to provide because they want to help. That's their way of helping, serving, supporting is to provide solutions.
Uh-huh.
And it's one
Uh-huh.
of the things that the conversations that I have with my husband, and I also teach this with within teams or even at work, right? Like with
Mhm.
clients,
Mhm.
prospects, people, they're having, when they share a problem, a conflict, something that's making them go like this. And before I always ask permission to share my genius, what I'm thinking. I say, okay, are you telling me just to tell? Do you just need to vent? Are you telling me to help problem solve? Or are you
Mhm.
telling me because you want me to step in and do something? Like,
Yeah.
let's put it into those three categories. I hear what you're
Mhm.
saying, and I often, and I coach to this, repeat what they're saying. I'm going to mirror what I hear you as being the problem. And then
Mhm.
just for clarity, because I truly hear you, what do you want me to do? What are these three things? Because if I just
Mhm.
listen,
Mhm.
let's just grab a glass of wine, right? We can listen and you can
Yeah.
just whatever. But um, I love that mirroring is such a powerful tool for communication
Mhm.
on any
Mhm.
level. And I love this process. And then, you know, understanding the feeling behind whatever's going
Yes.
on so that I hear you. I also understand that this is making you feel XYZ, whatever it
Mhm.
is, and then appreciating, saying I get that. I get it. Now this
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
what I think oftentimes they have to agree on everything, right? Like you're absolutely 100% right to feel this way, or you're 100% wrong to feel this way.
Yeah.
It's not my job to feel what you feel.
Mhm.
It's my job, and this is what I look at my husband.
Mhm.
It's not my job to say, oh, you're 100% right in feeling that. My job is to respect that that's how you feel
Mhm.
and honor that and support it if I need to hear, to help, whatever it is. I don't have to. He and I are completely opposite page when it comes to politics, which is always interesting in our household,
Yeah.
but we agree to disagree. But I can validate you and appreciate your thoughts without trying to change your mind, your behavior,
Mhm.
your preferences. And I think
Mhm.
that's so powerful.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's, I often say that I I love helping couples just get to the point where both people feel seen, heard, and valued. And we've hopefully everyone listening to this has had the experience of someone that truly sat with them and sometimes it only takes a few minutes. Like I remember this was several years ago. I had an appointment with a new doctor, and I was ready for the appointment, but I had some time, and I got on my computer and I was checking email, and I got an email from my dad's wife. She said, "Your dad died," and I'm like, "What?" I had to look a couple of times. I called my husband and I said, "Mark, come look at this." Like nobody calls us. She was in Germany. That's where she was from. Anyway, so I get this news. I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't even know what to do with this?" So I go on to my appointment and I'm sitting on the table, waiting for this doctor to come in, and he comes in, "Well, how are you doing?" And I'm kind of an open book, and I'm like, "Well, kind of a weird day." I was like, "Just before I left home, I got news that my dad just died. And I don't have any details yet." And I think he put down whatever was in his hands and he looked at me and just took a moment and he said, "I am so sorry for that." And it truly was such a deep kindness for me. It wasn't a big
Yeah.
conversation, but he connected. He was empathic, you know?
He heard
And
you.
he heard me. He knew where I was, and I didn't need a long speech about it, but I mean, clearly that stuck with me. That's been, I don't know, 8
Yeah.
years, 7 years, something like that. So it's that simple thing that we have the ability to do every day. You don't know what the other person at the drive-through, at the checkout line, your coworker, your kids, even your spouse. You don't know what's really going on inside their heart and their mind. And that's what creates human connection
Yeah.
is just acknowledging we can't fix the world's pain, but we can treat the humans that we come in contact with and interact with on a daily basis with just that moment of validation and empathy for what
Yeah.
they might be going through.
Oh, I love this. So powerful. Oh my God, you guys, are you hearing this? This is such goodness, such goodness. Now, I'm excited to share that you actually have a little gift for our listeners. Something called like a Power Connect check-in. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. This is hot off the press this week, and
Ooh.
it evolved out of a conversation with a friend who was talking with a young man who had started a business sometime in the last year. And life was busy, and he'd put on 40 pounds, and he had made the comment to her. He was like, "Yeah, I really need to work out, but my wife would be really pissed if I stopped at the gym," which made me think, well, have they had this conversation? So I put together, and this is not just for entrepreneurs, it's for any couple. But it's a 30-minute template. I call it a template of just it's a few different questions um, that let you get your personal and work life in sync for the week. And if you have kids or pets, to make sure you're on the same page, like when does Johnny have soccer practice? And, Betsy needs to go to the vet on Tuesday. Who's taking her? So it's not meant for deep conversation, but it's a good check-in every week. And so, yeah, I put that together, called it Power Connect, and it's a 30-minute
Nice.
template that couples can, they might evolve it and use it to their own benefit, or, however works for them. They might add some questions. Um, so yeah, that's available. I think the link you'll have, and so people can click on
Yes.
that link and download that and hopefully kind of get there. I just find that even right now, we don't have kids at home, but if we just take the time to check in, because we're both still working, and touch base with, is there anything coming up this week? How can I support you? So it kind of touches on the emotional piece as well as just syncing schedules. But also, I'm a big believer that being married doesn't mean losing yourself, right? You still have
Yeah.
personal goals, whether they're working out goals, or you're going to start a diet or something. Yeah, I met with a couple just last night. In fact, she's been on Weight Watchers since June, and she really had not mentioned any of it to her husband. I mean, he knew she was dieting, but he didn't really know why. And when she shared tearfully why, and he said, he had some very kind responses, and I asked her, have you shared that with him? And she was like, not really. Whereas, he wanted to be
Yeah.
supportive of it, but she had to
Yeah.
kind of invite him in and let him know that that was important. So, yeah.
It is. I love it. I love it. All right. And I know everybody can find you also on LinkedIn. So that's a great place to stay connected with you. The link to this giveaway, the check-in, will be in the show notes. So love that. Before we conclude, I have a couple fun questions for you. Are you
Sure.
ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Would you say you are a morning or night person?
Definitely night.
Night. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And are you a sweet or a salty girl?
Oh gosh. Probably more salty.
Salty? Yeah, me too, to
Mm-hmm.
tell you the truth. If you were to have an amazing dinner, would it be home or out at a restaurant?
Oh gosh. I love to cook, but I love to go and have a wonderful meal that someone prepares for me. So, a nice
Yeah.
restaurant is a real treat.
That's yes. See, that's I completely agree. I love to cook too. Food is part of my language, right? I cook for my
Mhm.
family. Okay, let's say you were craving something really, really yummy. Do you eat it or drink it?
Oh, depends on the day.
Yeah.
Depending on the day, it might be a really good margarita.
Yeah.
Um, I probably crave foods more. Like, I'm gluten
Foods more.
intolerant, so sometimes I just really want a really good gluten-free muffin that I didn't have to
Yeah.
make. Mhm.
Nice. Nice. I totally get that. Would you consider yourself a beach or a mountain person?
Mountain,
Mountain.
definitely. I love the mountains.
All right. And if you were to read your next fabulous book, would it
Mm,
be paper or Kindle?
paper.
Paper. Yeah, me too.
Mhm.
I love that. Um, and let's say you're rebooting, you're chilling out. Would you watch a movie or binge a series?
Mm. It's funny because we are not big TV people. We have trouble finding things to watch. Like, I'm in
Yeah.
Colorado also, and the nights are long in the winter. Um, And I can't tell you how many times we're like, we want to just chill and find something. And then we spend 30 minutes trying to find something. And then it's like, oh, heck, I'm just going to
You
actually
give
chilling
up.
out. I prefer a book. I'm a
Oh,
big
I
reader.
love it.
Yeah.
And okay, let's say, have you ever seen Zoolander, the movie?
I have not.
You have not. Okay, it's hilarious, but they talk about a theme song, like a walk-on song. So if you
Mm.
were to take stage, if you were to enter a room and just want to showcase your genius, what song would be playing?
Oh, gosh. Now that's putting me on the spot. There is an Elton John song. What is it? How does it go? It's basically like you can't knock me down. Um, it's not coming to me, but whenever I hear that song, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my theme song. Um, yeah, and I can't think what the name of it is, Kathy.
I just Googled Elton John
Elton
songs.
John.
Let's see. Uh,
I'm still standing. That's what it is. I'm still
ah,
standing.
okay.
I'm still standing. Yeah.
Better than I
Yeah. Yeah.
ever. True
Yeah.
survivor. Oh, I love it.
And
I
that's
love
a
it.
whole
Such,
story that we don't have time to go into, but yeah, yeah. I'm
I
still
love it.
standing.
That's an excellent song. I love that. It says so much about who you are, inside and out. So I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here and
You're
sharing
so
your
welcome.
genius. You guys, as listeners, I will put in the website, the link, all of this stuff. Find Miss Kathy on LinkedIn. Go download her check-in and her
And
power
the
couple.
website is very easy. It's just Kathy with a K Rushing. KathyRushing.com is the
Oh,
website. Yeah.
yeah, and
Very
just
easy.
she's just amazing. So thank you for sharing your genius today. This is so powerful. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Breaking Bad Communication. Thank you for listening and tuning in. But before we sign off, don't forget to subscribe. And if you like what you heard today, and it resonates with you, share it, repost it, tag somebody. Know this: the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your communication. And as you head back into the world, remember every conversation is your chance to shape your life and the lives of others. Whether it's a tough talk or a casual chat, be clear, be intentional, and listen like it matters. The better you communicate, the more your life aligns with what you truly want. So go out there and let your words work for you. Giddy up.